There's nothing like it. You can hear the roar of the motors. You'll feel the ground shake beneath your feet. It's what modifieds are all about.
Cars, roar to life, we're underway. So much online for this one today.
Trying to do the crossover.
Right to the bottom.
Nice move.
Angling it on the front stretch. Looks to the inside. Oh, he throws the block.
Here comes Bonsignor.
He drives away. He will take the checkered flag. They are trying to make this track wide. So the tap the bumper. Oh, he's going to win one. This is what it all comes down to. Here they come at the stripe. It's going to be a drag race. Down to the line. For the 77th time in Tour history, the Whelen Modified Tour descends on the tightest course on the circuit. The championship has heated up after Justin Bonsignor sliced a huge chunk of his point deficit to Austin Beers at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, a race which saw him challenge for the win but fall short of Old Blue and Tyler Ripkema, who finished third in this race last year. Tonight we celebrate car owner number 6 as one driver goes for Title 5 in his backyard. 4 winners in the last 4 races. Let's do it. The Eddie Partridge 256 at Riverhead Raceway. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Andy Austin alongside Ben Dodge, and so many storylines building for tonight's major event.
Certainly is, and of course we went from the biggest racetrack at New Hampshire International to come to one of the tightest bull rings on the circuit. There's been only a couple of short track events, but this is one of the events that everyone is talking about. Location, Riverhead, New York. It opened in 1951. It was a dirt track first, then it went on to become paved. It's a quarter-mile oval like no other on the circuit. It is asphalt, and it is proudly a part of New York and Long Island. Tonight's event has captured 19 of the very best drivers in the country, assembled for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. There's a lot of money up for grabs in this event, $104,000 in posted awards. But it's not just about taking home a victory. Andy, we know the story. The story is the prestige. Eddie Partridge, as you come here to this facility, you look over turns 3 and 4, and there is a car, a real race car. The last race car that Eddie Partridge had and was successful in winning. It stands above the arena here at Riverhead Raceway as a remembrance, and tonight's event is a special event. It's a commemorative event, perhaps like no other. When you come onto the property here, there's a big Indian. That big Indian, located at the entrance to the parking lot, believe it or not, it came from another race facility. It came from the old Danbury Race Arena and the Danbury Fairgrounds. Now, the Calamity family, there was 11 of those Indians that were up for sale. The Calamities went to the auction, and they managed to purchase the 11th and final Indian. They brought it back here, and it's become a landmark on the property. When bad weather came in, it was literally taken to the ground, but they decided to repair it and put it back up. It stands as a reminder that this facility has so much history, so much excitement with so many great names. Andy, over the years, I've come to this racetrack and I've seen competitors compete, like Charlie Jazambak, a potato farmer just down the street from this grand facility. And then, of course, Freddie Harback, Wayne Anderson, Tommy Baldwin, and Mike Iwanitsko, a giant of a young man who came, he saw, and he conquered, and he held a record here until Justin Bonsignor was able to take it away. Can you imagine that all these years later?
Justin Bonsignor is putting up stats equal and now surpassing Mike Iwanitsko. It's a testament onto what he's accomplishing and the excellence that we see in real time. Now, Justin has a tall order tonight. He comes into this race 7 points behind Austin Beers, and Justin fast in practice, but they weren't fast in practice 1. It was only practice 2 where they picked things up. They picked it up in qualifying as well. Can he break back through to victory lane? Had a very rough outing last year in this race.
Sure did.
Led a ton of laps, 171 laps, but had some suspension issues and was regulated back to 15th place. You can see he comes into this race trailing 7 points behind Austin Beers. It's now really a two-man show between Bonsignor and Beers. Craig Lutz, Matt Hirschman, Patrick Emmerling. A great battle for position number 3.
And then, of course, it is Matt Hirschman, his 150th start here at this facility. Quite an amazing accomplishment all by itself. Big money Matt Hirschman from Northampton, Pennsylvania. For those of you watching on Flow, he is the next door neighbor of Austin Beers. Austin Beers, the kid that played next door, suddenly becomes a guy contending for a title. What makes this really interesting is that Matt Hirschman has been in search of a title on the Whelen Modified Tour. It all began way back during the month of February, where Patrick Emmerling was the big winner at New Smyrna Speedway. From Thompson Speedway, Ronnie Silk was back in winning form. North Wilkesboro, what a great victory for Craig Lutz. Seekonk Speedway, Matt Hirschman in winning form. Riverhead Raceway, round number 1, Justin Bonsignor. And at White Mountain Motorsports Park, it was Kyle Bonsignor. Lancaster Speedway saw Austin Beers.
Austin Beers breaking through in that dominant fashion. He owns that speedway now. Tommy Catalano 1 week later, or yes, just 1 week later, broke through in dramatic fashion to winning on the quarter mile at Monadnock Speedway, the JDV production event, which was backed up by another race the following day where Ronnie Silk picked up a win. Followed by Patrick Emmerling at Thompson Speedway. Craig Lutz at Richmond Speedway broke through, and Silk, who is not even running for points this year, has become the winningest driver on the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour with 3 wins. And how about the most recent race, seeing Old Blue in victory lane, now is one of the hottest drivers in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. It was very reminiscent of that finish at Martinsville. And it proves that it wasn't a fluke, because he was fastest in first practice this afternoon, backed it up with a solid qualifying run. He was 3rd here last year, so we can get it done on our biggest facility and our tightest facility as well. Watch for Tyler Ribkema to be a factor tonight in Old Blue, and they've already started talking about 2026. Spoke to them this afternoon. He was a guest on the Mainly Motorsports podcast a couple of weeks ago, where he had said, yeah, you know what, this marks the year that we've been together as a team. We've been through the ringer. We've been up, we've been down. We're at the pinnacle right now. We really feel like things are coming together, and we're planning ahead for the long term, looking ahead for position or another win to close out the 2025 racing season.
You know, so many different angles have come into play for tonight's event, and of course, it is a very special night. No matter where you look at this facility, there was something that reminds you of Eddie Partridge. Eddie Partridge was truly one of the greatest modified car owners. His dedication with notable drivers. Among the drivers in the field is Ronnie Silk. Silk secured a title on the Whelen Modified Tour, and he was able to accomplish so many things. And of course, Ryan Preece, another driver that was dominant and also a major part of racing. Jimmy Beluit, and the list goes on and on and on. He was a giant of a man, but more important than that, his true passion was modified racing. As the modifieds are in place and stage, we'll present the starting lineup in just a moment. And we remind you that tonight's event is more than just a stop on the Whelen Modified Tour. It is the final short track stop, as this series will move on to, of course, Thompson Speedway, and then the grand finale, the closer of 2025 from Martinsville Speedway in Martinsville, Virginia.
We have 256 laps to settle this one tonight in the Eddie Partridge 256. 64 miles competed on this tight quarter-mile facility, the only NASCAR sanctioned track in the New York metropolitan area, the only racetrack on Long Island. Are we ready to send these drivers off? Yes, let's do so. Your starting lineup from the back to the front. We'll start with position number 19. This driver drives the Lakeland Avenue Landscape Supply sponsored ride. Car number 26, make some noise for Gary McDonald.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the 18th starting position. He'll sit behind the wheel of the MMLM diagnostic machine. Ladies and gentlemen, he is considered a rookie from Hudson, New Hampshire, car number 29. It is Mike Marshall. Moving now to the 17th starting position. He'll be driving the Coors Light JDL environmental machine. Ladies and gentlemen, would you welcome our 17th starter, Chris Rogers.
This one's all about the Catalanos. Car number 56, who has sat on the pole at this racetrack in the past, the USNE Power Ride out of Ontario, New York. This is 19-year-old Trevor Catalano. Starting next to him, his older brother, the FX Capanara sponsored ride, also out of Ontario, New York. Car number 54, winner in Monadnock, Tommy Catalano.
Let's take a look at row number 7. Starting back in the 14th position, he's the man that we've been talking about, driving the USNE. That, of course, is Old Blue, a familiar sight in the Northeast Drilling Machine. Ladies and gentlemen, from Oswego, New York, car number 3 for Tyler Ripkema. In the 7th row, 13th starting position, it is the Cormier Market Machine, the Keith Grimes car. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the hometown boys doing good from Riverhead, New York, would you welcome car 81, Mark Stewart.
On the outside of row number 6, this driver has a tall order tonight. It's been 25 years since anyone has won this race or a race at Riverhead Raceway in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour from starting outside the top 10. But if there's a driver that can do it, it's the driver of car number 60 who starts in position number 12, the Elite Towing sponsored ride out of Northampton, Pennsylvania. This is Matt Hirschman. And to the inside, starting position number 11, the Newtown Pools Waynett Construction sponsored ride out of Newtown, Connecticut. This is Stephen Kopsick.
Now let's move into the top 10. Ladies and gentlemen, he'll be starting in position number 10. Another one of the locals driving from Riverhead, New York, hometown, the Reed Machine. Ladies and gentlemen, car number 88, would you welcome Roger Turbush. And scheduled to start back in the 9th position. He'll drive the Blue Mountain Machine, the Future Home sponsored car. This automobile is one of the cars to watch. He's been there, he's done that. And ladies and gentlemen, he'll start 9th on the grid. Car number 16 for Ronnie Silk.
A tale of two different drivers with different agendas in row number 4 tonight. Starting position number 8. The road to the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour Championship goes through him. He's trying to become the youngest champion in series history. The G&G Electric Supply sponsored ride out of Northampton, Pennsylvania. This is Austin Beers. And give it up for one of the independents, his best qualifying run in years. Solid in practice and backed it up in qualifying. Out of Calverton, New York, the Hunter Mechanical ride for Ken Hagee.
Now let's move into the 3rd row. Starting in position number 6, the Jolly Performance MTT Munz Auto Machine. Ladies and gentlemen, from Bayshore, New York, a former winner, of course, on the Whelen Modified Tour in 2025. Would you welcome Kyle Bonsignor? And starting fifth, this gentleman, sizzling hot on the super speedways. Consistency is the story. The Riverhead Building Supply Machine. Car number 46. Make sure you make some noise for the Miller Place, New York driver, Craig Lutz.
And now your top four. He did not like his car in practice, but look at where he qualified. Fast time number 4 for car number 58, a 2014 winner of this race. Right here out of Riverhead, New York, this is Eric Goodale.
And now it's time to meet
We forgot.
the big star here at the Speedway. He is the man that's done more than anyone else. He's taken that position. He'll start back in third.
He is car number 51, the winner in June on Father's Day. Give it up for Holtzville, New York's Justin Bonsignor.
And it's time to meet row number 1. The gentleman started this season out with success in Florida. He carried it on at Thompson Speedway with a tribute car to Jeff Bodine. Ladies and gentlemen, the Fleetworks Incorporated LFR car number 1. From Orchard Park, New York, car number 1 for Patrick Emmerling. And now, position number 1. He's considered a local. His dad competed and had so much success at this racetrack. The Peter Clark Motorsports Machine. Car number 96, out of East Islip, New York. Would you welcome Matthew Brody?
Matthew will set fast time, or has set fast time this afternoon, but is that where he's going to start? So pole number 1, experience number 1 in the redraw. He will spin the wheel. The number that the wheel lands on will be the amount of drivers that have to redraw, and in a field of 19 cars, over half of them could be affected.
Certainly will. And of course, after that, we will determine by the chip where they will start. Down trackside with the wheel in place for tonight's event to determine the starting lineup and who, where, and why. Our good buddy, AJ.
Thanks, guys. Alrighty, race fans, what do you think? Let's get this thing started. Matthew, you were the fastest qualifier, so you get to spin the redraw wheel. Are you ready? Alrighty, let's count them down. 3, 2, 1. See what we land on here. Maybe get lucky for your birthday, huh? Oh, is it going to be a 10? 8. Lands on 8. Well, Matt, since you were the pole sitter, you get to draw first out of the 8 bucket. We're going to hold it up here for you. He's going to reach in. Let's see what he draws. He drops it. It's a 6. A 6 for Matthew Brody. Matt, fastest qualifier, you redraw 6. What do you think?
I'm not happy about it, but it is what it is. Can't do anything about it now. Just got to drive up there and be there for the end and hopefully come out on top.
Righty, well, next up, the 1 of Patrick Emmerling. As he reaches in, we'll see what he pulls. He pulls a 1. Pat, down now makes it 2 races in a row here at Riverhead Raceway. You've redrawn the pole. How do you feel about your number 1 Fleetworks machine?
Yeah, that definitely doesn't hurt there. Yeah, we definitely made a lot of gains in practice and had a pretty good qualifying effort. So, yeah, like I said, that doesn't hurt. It is a long race, and we just got to do our thing, and should be good. Should have a good car today.
Righty, good luck to you, Pat. Alrighty. We see the 51 of Justin Bonsignor up next. He's going to reach into the bucket. He's going to pull a 3. So you net out neutral there, Justin. 12 wins already here at Riverhead Raceway. What's stopping you from 13 tonight?
There's a lot of good cars here. We haven't been the best here over the last couple of years, but we got track position. Just got to have the right strategies. This pit stop deal is interesting and tricky. So hopefully we make all the right calls and see what we can do.
Alrighty. Up next, the 58 of Eric Goodale. Reaches in. We'll see what he picks out. Fifth. It's going to be fifth for Eric Goodale. Up next, the 46 of Craig Lutz. What's he pull? He pulls a 4. A 4 for Craig Lutz there. Up next, the 22 of Kyle Bonsignor. We see him reach in here. He pulls a 7. A 7 for Kyle Bonsignor. Up next, the 18 of Ken Heege. What can he pull here? As he reaches in, he pulls an 8. So that means with Austin Beers walking up here to the bucket, he's going to pull the 2. Austin, you net out 6 spots there. You pull the front row. What does that mean for you overall here at Riverhead?
Yeah, it's good to go +6 before we even take the green flag. So, we got a pretty good car. We just got to be there at the end. Good pit strategy, and we'll be good.
Righty, well, you just heard from the championship leader there in Austin Beers. We'll send it back up to the booth with Ben Dodge and Andy Austin for your new starting lineup.
Well, this is going to change the entire complexion of this event. It's a long way to go, but car number 1 will be starting in position number 1. Car number 64, the point leader, Andy, is going to be starting outside of the front row. But then, let's take a look at row number 2.
Beers, who caught the break of the evening by vaulting up, 6 positions, or at least 4 to position number 2. Justin Bonsignor restarting in 3rd. Craig Lutz up in 4th. Remember, Craig Lutz, 2nd place last year. He's going to be a threat before the night's over.
He sure is. And then, of course, Eric Goodale starting back in the 5th position. And the 96 of Matt Brody, the birthday boy, celebrating his birthday. He'll be starting back in 6th. 2 more positions, 7 and 8, will fill the draw positions now.
Matt Brody blew out the candles and then blew out the pole position because he's back outside of the top 5. Kyle Bonsignor in 7th, followed by Ken Heege in 8th. And before we fire things off for the Eddie Partridge 256, whether you're watching on Flow Racing at home or you're with us here in Riverhead, New York, let's send it down trackside for opening ceremonies with AJ Vassar.
Thank you, guys. Singing God Bless America tonight will be singer Valentina Chaosis. But first, with our invocation, Reverend Dan.
Will you all please rise and everybody bow your heads? Heavenly Father, we thank you for giving each one of us the opportunity to be here this evening. Lord, we thank you for each one of these drivers. Lord, we just pray that you would be with them as they compete in this race tonight. Be with each crew member as they service the cars. Be with each official, dear Lord, as they're out here scoring this race. And Lord, we thank you for the fans, for bringing them here, Lord, to enjoy this evening. And Lord, each one of us, whether we're in the pits, on the track, or up in the stands, had a choice. And Lord, we made that choice tonight because of the freedoms that we have in this country. And Lord, we know those freedoms came at a price, came at a cost. And Lord, there still are many men and women, Lord, in our armed services right now fighting for those freedoms. And we just pray that you would bless and keep them safe as well and bring them home to their families, Lord, so they can come next time to Riverhead Raceway to watch racing. Thank you for all you've done. Give us a great night. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America.
What a wonderful rendition of God Bless America. Valentina Kayasis with a great job before we get going for the Eddie Partridge 256 here at Riverhead Raceway. So quite the shakeup there with Patrick Emmerling taking over the pole, Austin Beers catching a great break on the outside. Now Beers, a lot has been written and spoken about his lack of a victory here at Riverhead Raceway, but think about this, he has chipped away over the last couple of years. He has a runner-up finish. He has all the confidence in the world to make this happen here tonight. And what better time to silence his critics than on a night like this and put a stamp on, yeah, you want the championship, you gotta come through me.
You do, and of course, he's had some success here before as well. But when you're coming up on Senor on home turf here at Riverhead, it's a whole different, well, a different time and even a different agreement. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about ready to commence. Drivers are strapped into their automobiles as we commence with the start.
And let's send it down trackside to A.J. Vassar.
No A.J. Vassar down here. He's actually down at pit road. Down here with owners, Connie Partridge, Tom Gatz, his daughter Lexi, and Eddie's brother Scoop. They're going to give us the start of this race on the count to 5. Count down with me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Drivers, start your engines!
Ah, there's nothing like it. The sound of mighty horsepower. 2,600-pound rocket sleds. They, of course, originated at bull rings, like here at Riverhead Raceway. They're ready. No one is the odds-on favorite in this one. And the distance will determine 256 circuits. Why, you might say, 256? Well, of course, Eddie Partridge's original car was car 5, the car that he had a tremendous amount of success with, and the last car that he won major events with was the number 6 car. The reason? That, of course, gives us 256 circuits. Now, for those of you watching on Flow, you'll note that this little bull ring quarter-mile facility now has an infield pit road. I'm going to tell you a quick story on how and why that is. Eddie Partridge himself wanted to add an element of tire change to the race program. He decided, they did the measuring, Jim Wilson from NASCAR came here and they decided to create their own form of pit road. Tonight, it won't be one tire change, it'll be one per stop, but there'll be 4 tires that the competitors will be allowed to do. The race length is 256 laps, the tire allotment. Now, of course, 4 tires for the competition here. So we're ready, cars are fired up, the NASCAR officials checking with the drivers to make sure, and spotters are located high atop the grandstand coming off turn number 4.
And Ben, you mentioned the tire allotment, no more than 1 tire. You can only change 1
Correct.
tire per caution flag, and that certainly factors into the strategy for tonight's racing. It's not like you can just throw rears on or right side tires. You have to figure out which tire you want to change first. And talking to these 19 teams, we had 3 different answers.
Yes, we did, and those answers were not consistent at all. One thing they all agreed on, that nobody was going to be able to go the entire distance without changing tires. You look at the backstretch here, there is a beautiful truck. It is a vintage truck, a great story of how Eddie Partridge went to pick up this beautiful truck in Missouri. They came back in one of the worst storms ever, but they restored it and they brought it back to life. If you know Eddie Partridge, you know he loved the glitz and the glamour. He loved top shelf stuff. You know why? He was a top shelf guy. And this truck is a perfect example of his heritage.
We have 4 more pace laps, and it's just so great to watch this vehicle pacing the field, headed up by Patrick Emmerling.
Buzz Chu Chevrolet pace truck at the foot of the field as we are moments away from going to green. as the field comes off turn number 4. This is the 3rd lap. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when the field of cars comes to the start-finish line, we want you to get up out of your seats, stomp your feet, make some noise, and give them a send-off.
This is one of the marquee events of the 2025 season, and headed up by the 66 Peterbilt. Look at that power down the back straightaway with Patrick Emerling, with Austin Beers to the outside. Justin Bonsignor needs to save his season tonight, and something that comes into this race are bonus points. So, by getting the pole, it's basically a wash. None of the drivers who are chasing the championship are going to get the bonus point, but of course, getting the win, you get those extra bonus points as well. So, you can't just sit back and take second. Austin Beers isn't going to do that. Justin Bonsignor can't do that. The winningest driver in NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour competition will do it from position number 3.
So here they come back off turn number 4. Once again, from the starter's stand, an indication that we are less than 2 circuits on this mighty quarter mile to the start of today's event. $104,000 is up for grab to tonight's event. 19 cars came out in full force as they come off turn 4.
On a night where we celebrate Eddie Partridge, Eddie, who passed away shortly after celebrating his team's victory at Richmond Raceway with driver Ryan Preece at the wheel of his number 6 modified, which now sits in turn number 3, watching over the field, 19 strong as we get ready to go green next time by. Lights are back on the Bus Juice Chevrolet Pace truck.
Well, the lights come back on, an indication that we are not quite ready to get them fired up. Off turn number 4, lights are back on. Clenched yellow flag from the starter's stand, an indication next time we are going green.
Lights out, you can feel the thunder if you're in attendance at Riverhead Raceway on a beautiful Saturday night, or if you're watching on Flow. We're getting ready to turn these drivers loose on the tightest racetrack on the circuit. The Eddie Partridge 256 is underway. Connie Partridge waves the green flag and we're racing.
Down off turn number 2 and down the back straightaway. Side-by-side bid already shaping up for the number 1 spot. But lap number 1 will go into the record book, and Patrick Emerling is there. Already challenging on the outside. Here comes Austin Beers, wasting no time at all to get to the front of the field.
How about that number 64, the Ron Uhas prepared number 64 down to the inside. Protects the low line because Justin Bonsignor is knocking right there. And how about, no, looks like that's Craig Lutz. Lutz on the outside of the car, number 46. Thought it might be Eric Goodale, who's lost the ground. Goodale back about 3 cars as they work their way down the back straightaway. He falls into the clutches of Kyle Bonsignor.
Meanwhile, take a look at what's happening up for the 3rd position. Rim lighting to the inside. All of a sudden, they are challenging. Justin Bonsignor making his presence known. Let's move to the outside. 5 cars at the point. 1 car, the leader. It is car number 1.
Not sure what happened there, but Justin Bonsignor took advantage of the inside line, and the freight train is starting to roll. I think Austin Beers tried the outside, thought he was going to make a move on Emerling, but remember, in the springtime, Emerling had one of the fastest race cars, and I don't want to sound like a broken record saying this, but I would say 80 to 85% of the races we've had this year on the tour, Emerling has been the fastest car on the track at some point of the race. They've just been snake bitten with a couple of crashes and a mechanical failure. Not that the crashes really weren't of their doing, too. You take those away, and Emerling would be very much in the championship chase right now.
While you're watching this up front, Patrick Emerling is still the leader of the pack. But Justin Bonsignor is .275 behind the leader. That sets Austin Beers back in the 3rd position, and Craig Lutz is up to 4th. The local hometown kid that was the quickest in time trial, Matt Brody, rounds out the top 5. You're looking at the top 5 coming up already on Black's Automobile. It is car number 29 for Mike Marshall.
Marshall goes down 1 lap, and you can look just ahead of the leader, and you can see another driver getting ready to go down 1 lap. That's the thing. You get a guy like Trevor Catalano, who's towards the back of the pack, and so is Tyler Catalano. They're going to go down a lap if we stay green, and this kind of looks like it's going to have a green flag run if the first dozen laps are any indication. Everybody minding their P's and Q's early enough. They know lap-wise it's the longest race of the year, but still 64 miles across this quarter-mile facility.
Well, the real story here now is the top 6 positions. They are single file. Now a bit to the outside, lap traffic once again. The story, off the turn. First and second start to pull away. Then there's a gap. Here comes Spears, and right behind him is still Craig Lutz. No changes among the top 5 positions. Meanwhile, let's go back to look at where Silk is at. He is up to the 8th position behind Kyle Bonsignor as Ken Heggie runs in 9th and Robert Turbridge in 10th.
I really like that battle for second spot. Justin Bonsignor had a mirror full of Austin Beers. Beers pulls to the inside. Looks like he's getting off the corner just a little bit better. One thing I noticed on Beers, it's a little early for those rotors to be glowing. Car number 64, he's using all of it right now.
Certainly is, and of course, remember, putting a lot of front lake in the car, and that makes things turn. All of a sudden, we've got a car up to the outside wall, and it looks like it is the Turbush machine. No, it's the Mark Stewart car, car number 31.
He was running 13th on the racetrack in some pretty heavy contact, not just incidental. I mean, it's pretty bad for car 81. You can see some suspension damage on that race car, so it's going to require some lengthy pit work as the NASCAR official goes over and checks things over. They were really clicking things off. 20 laps into this one. Still, I believe, too early to come in, certainly for tires, because you're going to have to run 236 laps on what you got here. But, talking to drivers like Eric Goodale, he was one of the drivers who said, you know what, I might come a little early because track position is going to be everything, because if there isn't a lot of tire fall off tonight and you get the track position by pitting early, hopefully when you get out back there you don't get caught in what's usually out back there. It cycles up to you. You end up with the lead, say somewhere around 100, 125 laps into the race. Everybody's going to pass you and your tires are still good. So there's something to be said for for pitting early here as the Whelen caution lights are on. Whelen, the official warning lights of NASCAR, trusted to protect first responders.
That, of course, the first name, light sirens and safety services used throughout the world. Whelen Engineering. Well, there is a disappointed driver who turned some heads, having a pretty good run. You know, when we talked to Phil Moran earlier in the paddock area, he said one thing: you don't want to get a lap down. He says you can make it up, but unfortunately you'll use up too much of your car. He says you need to have a solid car in the beginning of the race, let that car carry over, and in the final laps of the race, bolt on those tires. Remember, when you put on those feel goods, that's the Hoosier tires, it'll make a difference in everything you see. Car number 3 pulls around to the bottom, and it looks like Tyler Ripkema is heading down on pit road.
As he pulls that number 3 down to the infield pit road, AJ Vassar is on the scene. Let's go trackside and see what's going on with the bowler number 3, AJ Vassar.
We see the 3 machine of Tyler Ripkema coming into pit lane here. They've already got the right rear off, as we see one of the crew members going to work on the right front, maybe make an adjustment here to help Tyler out. Look to be struggling there in the early parts. As they get the right rear back on the race car, we'll see what this does for them. Back up to you guys in the booth, Andy.
All right, thank you very much, AJ. Great work, and Ben, that's an excellent point of the right rear was giving him problems. You can't just let that fester because you're going to go down a lap and then you're really going to be in trouble.
Well, they said before that the right rear was the tire that they had to be the most concerned with. And in this case, that was the story. Car number 81 is brought back to the center of the infield area. That'll be the first caution of the event. Remember, these laps count, so we are under yellow as the countdown is underway. And again, we are under caution with the lights from Whelen Engineering as we are about ready to get things back in the correct order and get fired back up.
We do have some yellow fever throughout many of the races here at Riverhead Raceway. 70 laps in the spring, 75 laps in this 256 lap affair last year, which was won by Ron Silk in dramatic fashion. Ben, the last couple of years have been lights out, great entertainment for race fans, whether you are in person or on Flow Racing. There was the 2023 absolute slugfest between Ron Silk and Justin Bonsignor. Justin came out on top of that one. Last year, Justin led 171 laps of this race. Looked like he was going to repeat, but it didn't quite work out that way. He had some major issues, and that really, as it turns out, didn't hamper his chances of winning the championship. He picked up his 4th, but with his 15th place finish, that was his worst finish of the year. His finish was not indicative of how he ran, but Ron Silk came out on top of that race.
Well, Ron Silk, you know, he has his own different style of driving. And of course, the prestige of running for the title is not with him this year. They've decided to run for the big money races. And they have been literally all over the charts. And wherever that race car goes, car number 16 has found a home in the winner's circle. So now, they're thinking about 2026. Will they go back and run for the title again? Or will they decide to do exactly what they've been doing during this past season? Some of the people on the crew said, we miss running for points. Other individuals on the crew said, we like the fact that we can run when there's big money on the line. Speaking of big money, let's go back and see where Matt Hirschman is, as he is back in the 11th position. Now, Hirschman had a terrible day so far. In his practice session, he was way off. Then all of a sudden, by time we time trialed, he was still not a big factor. This has not been, Andy, a great year for Matt Hirschman when it comes to running up front wherever he's attempted to run. He's had a lot of hardship.
By his own admission, he did get in the hole early, despite the fact that he led a lot of laps in the first 3 races. Did not have the finishes, and they've been digging out of the hole ever since. Speaking of holes, we're back to full speed, digging out of turn number 4's hole, and Patrick Emmerling brings the field back to green, and the Eddie Partridge 256 is back underway.
The battle already shaped up for that runner-up position. Beers, along with Bonsignor, side by side and wheel to wheel. They come off the turn, back to the stripe. Beers is making a bid for the lead.
Austin Beers knocking and sideways off of turn number 2. He draws it up even with Patrick Emmerling. Emmerling drips up the racetrack, and it's Beers by a bumper back into 1.
Second leader of the event becomes Austin Beers. Beers is in command. Down the back straightaway. Beers will set the pace. Inside lane, all of a sudden comes to life. Here comes Lunch with car 46.
There are 2 drivers that I really like at this stage of the race, and both of them are inside the top 5. None of them are the leader, though. Neither of them are the leader. Craig Lutz in car number 46, just smooth on the inside. Remember, he was 2nd place last year and chasing down Ron Silk in that overtime finish. Right behind him, how about the number 96, who tries the outside? He's the rookie. He just snagged his first pole earlier this evening, and Matthew Brody, proving that it's no fluke, runs 2x2 with Kyle Bonsignor in turn number 3.
He's got a great race car hooked up in the outside lane. Behind them, it is Ronnie Silk with the number 16 car, and right there with him, it is Eric Goodale. Goodale looks racy as he tries to continue to make his presence known. They bump, they grind, they rub together, they cling and they clang, but there's no question about it. It is still a great race up front. Craig Lutz, Matt Brody, Kyle Bonsignor, and Eric Goodale.
Down the back straightaway, things now settling into a longer green flag run. Scratch that. How about a good 2x2 battle off of turn number 4? Kyle Bonsignor in car number 22. Sparks shooting out between him and the rookie off of turn 2. Matt Brody gathers it back up, and with a bird's eye view of that one, it's Ronnie Silk able to choose whichever lane he wants, but he might want a third lane. Silk wasting no time off of 2.
Well, as Silk moves in, Brody gets hung out to dry in the outside lane. Down low, challenging, working his magic. Kyle Bonsignor. They are wheel to wheel, side by side. Bonsignor leads a little bit on him. Brody isn't about to give up. This kid is a contender. Now they head off the turn. Brody is way up high. Here comes Ron Silk.
What did you do on your 21st birthday? Ben, do you remember?
No.
No. I watched Mr. Bean with my friends. That was it. So pretty chill compared to what Matthew Brody is doing on the outside, running at the highest level of modified racing, the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, and battling 2x2 with one of the best in the business, the Chalou number 22 of Kyle Bonsignor. Neither one of those drivers giving an inch, and I don't know. I mean, if there's a person that knows if he's burning up his race car or not. Oh, Sparks shooting out.
Oh, trouble now.
Bonsignor
Brody got loose.
hanging on.
And as he got loose, Bonsignor lost the position, and that opened the door. Now Brody goes way up the hill. Kyle Bonsignor, they are rumbling here at Riverhead.
This is going to be a teaching moment for Matthew Brody. He cannot afford these early race dramatics with Kyle Bonsignor running for 6th position. I understand the tensions are high, but you gotta give and take. And for somebody who's used to running 35, 40 lap races, we're at the juncture where this would be crunch time for him. But he has to put his NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour hat on and say, you know what, it's a tour race and it's a long one. I need to chill out here for a little bit. And he finally does so. If he can get, now battling side by side with another one of the locals.
Oh,
He's
trouble.
in the wall. No, that's the 88 in the wall. Roger Turbish gets into it.
Goes around, comes off turn number 4, way out wide, makes contact with the wall underneath the start-finish line, bringing out the second caution of the event. 49 circuits up on the board here in the Eddie Partridge 256 from Riverhead Raceway. Heartbreaking situation. Had a strong, solid run going. He was running in the 10th position. Stephen Kopsick is up to the 9th spot unofficially. Kyle Bonsignor back in 8th. Eric Goodale is 7th. Matt Brody, who's been turning some heads, is back in the 6th position.
Well, the safety equipment is out, and I don't think the fireworks are over for Roger Turbish, who's exiting his vehicle, which is good news that he's able to do it under his own power. But he's already thrown his gloves, and for a driver who has finished in the top 5 in a tour race pretty recently, he was just biding his time, waiting for the race to come to him, and not at all happy with a driver that he runs side by side with week in, week out, Chris Rogers. That was a battle for 10th position, so he was up there.
He was, and of course you can see how frustrated he is, literally throwing things and looking at the damage done to the front end of that race car. And his frustration still continues as we are still under yellow, 50 circuits, and we are counting as the machine that sat stranded on the front straightaway that was once contending among the top 10 positions here.
And you got to feel that. You got to feel the passion, the anger, the discontent, and every emotion that goes into being on this stage, the highest level of modified racing. And they only do it a few times out of the year. You want to impress the hometown crowd. Turbish had a fast race car, consistently has a fast race car, had a top 5 finish there recently, was biding his time, and certainly doesn't feel like that was of his own doing. So in the moment, certainly cooling down at the back of the Ford Pace truck. Here's the replay.
Let's take a look at it. Keep your eyes on it right there. Here's where it happens. Up the hill goes one of the cars. Contact is made. Look at that, Tyler Ripkema. After the fact, watch the 3 car as we come off turn number 4. Here's the situation. Now watch where the 3 car comes in. Keep your eyes on it. And there is the 3 of Tyler Ripkema squeaking between the wall
One more time.
and the damaged car.
Goes down to the inside, and Rogers below the lip I'm not sure if the 88 knew he was there. There was incidental contact, and there was follow-up contact coming off of turn number 4, which put Turbish into the wall. Again, fast race car. You hate to see it. A driver that doesn't run the full slate of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, but whenever he does, he's certainly a threat as we're under yellow again, and Whelen trusted to protect first responders. You're watching Flow Racing's coverage of the Eddie Partridge 256 here on a beautiful October night at Riverhead Raceway. The best weather we've had here at this racetrack in quite some time.
It certainly has been, and of course, we are again under caution. We have been pretty much caution-free, and it looks like we have a parade of cars that are anticipating to move down on pit road. Now, AJ is down there, as we will see if we have any takers. Once they open up pit road, let's see what's going to happen. It looks like Tyler Ripkema's number 3 car is looking, and no, stays out pit road. Apparently not open at this particular point.
So some of the drivers who were at the back of the pack running on the inside, and again, I want to give a shout out to Ken Hagee. Hagee, who solidified his, he backed up his practice sessions with a great top 10 qualifying run. Hadn't done that all year long. Independent campaigner running at his home track. Great to see that team shine this afternoon, and currently on the lead lap.
Well, you know, again, the number 3 car of Tyler Ripkema back down on pit road. Remember, earlier they came in, they put on a right rear. Now they're going to the left rear. They'll be checking the stagger to make sure. Looks like a round of wedge being put into the car, and they'll be hopefully sending it back out. Let's go down on pit road.
So the car jacked up there in the back. They're working on the left rear for Tyler Ripkema's ride, and a guy who, you know, has been at the top of the world the last 2 weeks of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour, peels off of pit road now. You know, is strong. Picked up a 3rd place finish in this race 1 year ago. This marks the year anniversary of this team working together. They had raced with Jake Johnson and a couple of other drivers part-time. And I know that over the course of the last few years, they've cycled in, the Bowlers have cycled in a couple of different drivers. At their core, they want to compete week in and week out with the same driver, have the same notebook, be able to build that. And I think they've really found something by combining Tyler Ripkema's family team with their expertise in the Bowler number 3 back to victory lane at New Hampshire Motor Speedway for the first time in years. That was a great moment. But it's been an entire year that these guys have been working together.
You know, it's confidence. It's so important, and the dynamics of running a good race team. That Bowler operation, no matter who's set behind the wheel, they've had tremendous success. You know, you talk about over the years in history, drivers like Jerry Marquis drove the number 3 car. And of course, in addition to all of that, even Eric Beers, the father of Austin Beers, has sat behind the wheel of car number 3. There's so much history and the evolution of racing itself in modified competition. So far, nobody has been able to, well, put their mark on when to run hard, when to be consistent. They're just riding it out. And we are now 56 laps complete with 200 circuits to go. 2 cautions so far in this, the Eddie Partridge 256.
You know, it's very easy to say smooth like silk. We've done it ad nauseum. How about stealth like silk? For the first 50 laps of this race, Ron Silk is inside the top 10, but I think he's a driver he's certainly not burning up his tires. He's not showing what he has. He's staying with the pack. He's clicking off a couple of positions here and there. He was right behind that great battle with Kyle Bonsignor and the rookie Matt Brody. But just outside the top 5, he looks like he is ready to shine. The defending winner, don't count him out. Stealth towards the back of the
here we
middle
go.
of the pack. Yeah.
Field is doubled up 2 by 2. They're set to go back to green flag competition. Austin Beers, remember the story of the point. He is setting in second, a small margin. Meanwhile, Bonsignor is waiting in the wings. Here comes Emmerling, 2-time winner this season. Off the turn, it is still Austin Beers running the bottom of the racetrack like he is running on rails. Bonsignore is there. Trouble now. Down the back straightaway. We've got the 00 car. That's Chris Rogers making contact with the right front. And how ironic is this that the Riverhead guys have had their share of bad luck so far. As car number 00, he was able to scuff the wall with the right front, but able to drive away some way and somehow.
Well, it seems like they've had experience hitting the wall here, so maybe they know exactly where to hit it. I don't know. But 00, he was involved with Roger Turbish, and Rogers himself crossed up on the wall. You can see the long tire marks on the backstretch as he's side by side with car number 96, Matthew Brody, who I think has cooled down after that battle with Kyle Bonsignore. One thing I noticed about Austin Beers on that restart, and it's something fairly consistent here at Riverhead, I went back and watched the last few years of racing, and the driver that starts on the inside has a tendency to spin the tires on a restart.
Yeah.
That could be costly come around lap number 250, lap 256, when everyone's tires will be completely worn out by that.
Well, Sly Zabin is the crew chief along with Ronnie Uhout on the number 64 car. He has been a notable gentleman with a lot of success. He has won titles on the Whelen Modified Tour. Titles with people like, well, Ryan Preece. And of course, the list goes on and on. A lot of great drivers have driven under the conditions of Sly Zabin. And Ronnie Uhouse, he was the original driver of the 64. He was injured in an accident in New Hampshire. He comes back to turn the wrenches and create magic of his own. This is very important. Murphy, who owns the race team, for this race team to have the success that they deserve. They've had so many different drivers, but it is a young driver that comes from Northampton, Pennsylvania, that has created the most magic in the quickest period of time.
So it looks like that the jack's going to go down on Chris Rogers, 00. Quick pit stop from him. Not sure if he's going to come back in again. Certainly not going to lose any track position by doing so. For those who are just tuning in, the tire rule, you can change one tire per caution flag.
That's right, and of course that means you can go in, you can make that tire change. Remember, they were given 4 tires, but only one. They can't put all 4 on at the same time. Field is double back up, starting to get him back up to speed. There's a replay of the situation with the 00. He came out wide, scuffed the wall, but was able to pull away. Rinse and repeat. What's it going to be off turn number 4 as the checker is a long way away, but the green is right there for the start.
Justin Bonsignore wasting no time, tries the inside and then his tire tracks his car 16. That's Ronnie Silk. They'll try it again as Beers drifts up the racetrack just a little bit. The only driver on the inside who didn't spin his tires was Justin Bonsignore. Justin having to not only race for the lead, but race for the driver, or race with the driver that he's chasing for the championship. So a couple of different masters he needs to serve with that number 51.
Emmerling just tested the waters, tried to make the move on the outside. It didn't work, it didn't stick. Bonsignore is there. Here comes Lutz. Lutz has a nice run in the outside lane. Lutz is there. Bonsignore bid for the 3rd position. Still remaining Austin Beers. Off the turn they come. Emmerling back to 2nd. Here is Bonsignore and Lutz side by side for 3rd.
There is nobody who's working the bottom side better than Justin Bonsignore right now, but he drifts up the racetrack just a little bit. A quarter of a track, quarter of a groove. That's all it was going to take for Ron Silk to make some noise on the inside, and he has to worry about Craig Lutz up on top, and here comes Patrick Emmerling knocking on the door, trying to retake the lead back into turn 1.
Emmerling stuck it in, they touched. They came into contact, but just as they made that contact, let's go back and look at that 3rd position. It is Bonsignore now forcing his presence to the inside of Lutz. Side by side, there is Ron Silk moved into your picture. Silk also right there to try to contend. Kyle Bonsignore is there. Battle is for 3rd.
Standings does not matter, or standing does not matter for Ronnie Silk in car number 16. Silk, who does not have a point lead to protect, does not have to race for bonus points, just going for trophies. And tonight, he's racing for a trophy in honor of someone who delivered, or he helped deliver, a championship to back in 2011 when he was running for Eddie Partridge, that storied race team. One of Silk's 2 championships came under Eddie, so it was extremely emotional for him to win this race last year. He said, you know what, they're all special, but there's something about this. A guy who's going for his 30th NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour win tonight. That's Ron Silk in the Silver 16. Right in front of a great side-by-side battle that picks up again with the 96 and the 22. It's Bonsignor on the inside.
Bonsignor continues to work the magic. Back up front, you're looking at Emmerling. Can reel in on the back bumper of Austin Beers, but that's all he can do. He can get close, but in no striking distance. We've got a caution.
Looks like that might be Eric Goodale in car number 58 pointing the wrong way. Goodale, a former winner of this race back in 2014, running a limited schedule this year. He has run a lot of the larger tracks. Matter of fact, the only New Hampshire race that he ran this year was New Hampshire Motor Speedway. He's been spending time with his family. Mason had picked up a number of wins this year in the Bandoleros right here at Riverhead. So Eric putting on a different hat this year. And he said, sometimes when we run multiple Bandoleros, it's more stressful than bringing the tour car to a tour race.
You know, you can understand that. And he is an outstanding individual, a former athlete when he was in school, and of course, a big sports fan. He'll pull to the inside, car number 58. We'll see what's going to happen here as Eric Goodale. Eric Goodale let his presence be known years back at an event called the Battle of the Beach, where they literally turned the backstretch of Daytona into an oval. But at the end of the event, it was Eric Goodale who became a household name. That was then. Meanwhile, Bonsignor also looks to the bottom of the racetrack, and we're not sure what's happening here as the field is again.
I think he just misjudged pit road. It looked like he was
right.
going someplace that he realized, oh yeah, we're not going there right now. Stays on the inside, does not come to pit road this time as the Whelen lights stay on. Whelen trusted to protect first responders. This would be caution number 3. We had 7 caution flags, caution 4. We've had 7 caution flags last year, 8 the previous year, and both Bonsignors getting ready for the green for pit road action.
Well, here they come. They're heading down on pit road. Justin Bonsignor and Kyle Bonsignor. Watch the action, those of you watching on Flow. The Ryan Stone prepared race car.
They're working it down to the pits now. You can see on your screen Justin Bonsignor going into the pit area, and our trackside guy is AJ Vassar. AJ, take it away.
We see the 51 of Justin Bonsignor pulling into the pits here. As we see the team getting to work on the race car, they're going to put a new right rear on this race car. Already got the right rear back on. Jack's dropped, and he's going to take off, stop there for a second. They're going to pull him back into the pit stop. Maybe a problem here for the left rear of Justin Bonsignor. Back up to you guys in the booths.
Well, apparently a slip up there because the 51 was dropped down on the jack. It looked to start to pull away when all of a sudden it stopped, and it stopped as we see it, apparently. Now, one of the crew members looking and checking the sway bar on the right front, but still, the 51 of Bonsignor now finally pulls away.
That's indicative, and I think a microcosm of their season. They have been fast everywhere they've gone, but there's just something missing in about 80 to 90% of their races this year, and I don't think anybody on the team can put their finger on it because it isn't just one little thing. It's just freakish little things that have happened to that team that wouldn't happen in years past. Something that I really liked out of Craig Lutz that time is just the desire to lead this race. He did spin the tires that time from position number 3, and he didn't gain anything, but he was looking for his own lane, and something tells me that Craig Lutz is ready to party, and that party is starring on the inside. He is 2x2 with the guy who's been fairly stealth tonight and saved his tires. Here comes Ron Silk on the outside.
Silk moves in, takes over the 3rd spot. Lutz is there. They come off the turn. Ron Silk is up to 3rd. He started just out of the top 10. Meanwhile, behind him, another side-by-side battle. Matt Brody is there. Kyle Bonsignor is there. There's good racing wherever you look. Back up front, Austin Beers still in command.
There's one driver who's really got his season back on track this evening, and that is Steven Kopsick in car number 21. They have had a nightmare August, a terrible September, and now showing signs of how they were breaking through earlier this year, where they had 2 runner-up finishes in the first 5 races. Steven Kopsick has, and he is, what a save by the 21. Unbelievable cars. Hirschman's in the wall, and that started with Kopsick 40 degrees sideways on a quarter-mile racetrack full song.
Well, the elite number 60, his 150th start, all of a sudden he finds himself able to pull away. Believe it or not, you can see the right side tires on the number 60 car. They have literally bent, of course, slammed the outside wall, and of course, as Andy had pointed out, it was Steven Kopsick who perhaps pulled off the Timex timely move of the event.
That was near drifting. That was quite a save, and I'm sure we're going to see it on replay here before too long, because it was right on camera. Now Matt Hirschman dives onto pit road. No big surprise here for the PD number 60.
Tough break there, of course. They have had their share of problems. And it looks like...
Did he misjudge pit road, or
yes,
was that...
it does look like... Here, looking at the replay here. They were 3 wide, almost 4 wide. Matt Hirschman had no place to go. Look at the 21, sideways, a 4-wheel drift. Hirschman gets on the brakes, and then there was some contact made.
Now, one thing that happened just outside of your camera was Matt Hirschman, it looked like he was pulling down pit road, but it would have been before or behind the wall, and that looked like it was a misjudgment, because he did hit reverse and pull it down to the pits.
You know, interestingly, we were looking at the replay. It appeared that Lutz tried to avoid the situation. He made contact with Hirschman, and the end result was Hirschman being wedged to the outside wall. They're looking at the right front suspension on the number 60 car, and it looks like maybe the damage is a little bit more severe. Tough way, 150 starts. AJ is down there now.
Alrighty, we see the 60 of Matt Hirschman in pit lane. The team under the hood of that 60, looking into the front suspension of that race car. Clear right front damage to this 60 of Matt Hirschman. Team in there with lights and wrenches, trying to get that thing back together and get Matt Hirschman back out here on the racetrack. In the meantime, back up to you guys in the booth.
One guy who's not happy with his race car is Justin Bonsignor. AJ, you might be a busy guy, because here comes car number 51, the Phoenix Communications number 51, and you're the man on the scene. AJ Vassar, what do you see?
We now see the 51 of Justin Bonsignor back into pit lane. They were having some problems earlier with that left rear tire. Now they're going to go change the left rear tire. We see them drop the jack, and he fires off and away after that pit stop, while the 60 of Matt Hirschman still sits here motionless in pit road. In other words, back up to you guys in the booth.
Well, they continue to work on the right front on the Matt Hirschman machine. Interestingly enough, the Bonsignor car, they put on a right rear the first time they came in. Remember, the car came off the jack, and all of a sudden they started to go. Then they stopped. This time, they checked the left rear. They did have a tire to go on the left rear, but they chose not to put it on. Different strategy for different teams, and we'll reset the field for you. Meanwhile, these laps continue to tick away. Austin Beers has led the majority of the laps so far. Patrick Emmerling, early leader, sets in second. Ron Silk up to the third position. Stephen Kopsick in the wild four-wheel slide will be in the fourth spot. Then it's Matt Brody turning some heads in the top five. Trevor Catalano and brother Tommy Catalano. Tyler Ripka is up to 8th. Craig Lutz is 9th. And Justin Bonsignor is being shown in position number 10.
Lights stay on the racetrack one more time. They had gone out, but will stay on the under yellow one more circuit, at least one more circuit, with, again, Beers continuing to have command of this race. We've seen a lot of drivers try to get that grip off of turn number 4. And remember, as the race wears on and tires wear out, there's going to be more spinning of the tires, especially on the inside. Ben, one thing we've seen in the last 20 laps, there's really been a second groove that has developed here at Riverhead, and we've seen some great side-by-side racing. I wouldn't count out drivers from the second groove making a move.
You know, you're right about that. All of a sudden, the bottom has started to work its way in, and of course, we're going to see nobody's pushing their cars to the limits this early in the event. There's no question about that. Austin Beers, well aware of points on his mind, but more important than that, he wants to finish. If you finish up front, if you lead laps, you're going to be a gainer in the point department. Meanwhile, quietly but cautiously, coming to the front of this field, Ron Silk, a man with a mission. He'll be back in the third position. Stephen Kopsick, who really did a fine job of gathering the car. Lights are off. Looks like we're going back green in less than 1.
Listen to the rumble of the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour through turns number 1 and 2. This is a statement race for Austin Beers. We haven't seen him up front this long in about 2 months. Off of turn number 4, green flag is in the air, we're racing.
Beers wastes no time at all. All of a sudden there's the battle for the third position. Meanwhile, it is still Silk moving in the third. Right there with him, making his presence known on the inside lane. All of a sudden, moving forward as well. The bottom is starting to come in here.
We have some studs up inside the top 5 and 2 drivers looking for their first win. You have Stephen Kopsick on the inside, and your early leader, your pole sitter, after winning the pole, shuffled back to 6. Matthew Brody proving it's no fluke inside the top 5. He's 2 by 2, and on the outside with Kopsick in turn 2.
They are side by side and wheel to wheel. Kopsick down low, Brody on the outside. Meanwhile, Kopsick slips up the racetrack just a bit, but Brody gains the position. It is Matt Brody still working his way back to the front of the class.
Talking with Patrick Emmerling this afternoon, they've already locked in their 2026 plans. Dale Hedquist, the head of that team, and Patrick Emmerling have worked together very well the last season and 3 quarters.
Oh, trouble now. All of a sudden, Kopsick got into the back bumper of Silk. He was forced to back out of it. Meanwhile, Brody is still there. Brody and Kopsick are side by side. Kopsick's car suddenly becomes a little bit evil.
And I think what you're going to see with that number 1 team is just the fact that they've really gelled this year. Even though they've had a couple of misnomers and situations that were out of their control, they've been faster this year on a consistent basis. They may not have the win total as much as last year, but I think there's some consistency in their speed. If they can get it on the racetrack results-wise, and shake some of the bad luck, they are certainly one of the contenders for the 2026 crown, and people are already talking about this team coming back stronger next year.
Well, meanwhile, you're looking at that bid for that second and third position. Emmerling trying to shake off the pressure being applied by Silk. Silk is still there. Silk's car tries to make a move at times in the outside lane. It just doesn't work. He'll pull back into formation. Brody still right there with him. This kid's got a ton of talent. He has not been out of the top 5 at all. Brody is showing that he's a chip off the old block. His dad was a contender here at Riverhead, and now he'll carry that torch forward.
He's celebrating his 21st birthday this evening and doing it in the highest level of modified racing here in the Northeast. Now, one thing that we haven't seen in about a half an hour, Ben, is a long green flag run in this Eddie Partridge 256. These drivers, they stay green for another 5 to 7 minutes, and Austin Beers is going to find himself in a position that he hasn't been in for a while, and that's with some lap traffic, which is further going to wear those tires as he has to not only hold off the drivers he's challenging or challenging him, but he's got to dance around those lap cars too.
He certainly is, and of course, they're coming up on that heavy lap traffic as we speak. The guy to keep your eyes on is Ron Silk. He has got a car that he is throwing literally everything at the man who's sitting in second. Emmerling is still there. Heavy traffic is up ahead. Meanwhile, Silk looks to the outside, tries to gain some momentum. It doesn't work. He has to pull back into formation. Now he's going for the outside again.
Silk reminds me of a cat that's playing with a glass of water on the side of a counter. He's tapping it, he's tapping it, he's tapping it. He knows what the heck he wants to do with it and basically he knows that he's in control of that counter, in control of that glass. And I'm not saying he's going to whack Patrick Emmerling off the counter, but I'm just saying he's in control of the situation and this race right now.
Certainly is. They come up on lap traffic. That works to the advantage of Austin Beers. Beers is now not challenged at the front of the field. Meanwhile, behind Brody, Kopsik, and Trevor Catalano and his brother Tommy Catalano are all starting to get settled in, and they're getting closer to those top 5 positions.
And one thing I've noticed out of Austin Beers here as we come up on the halfway marker this time, 64 has been up front for the majority of this race, but you might remember early on, his brake rotors were glowing. By lap 13, I thought he was going to be in trouble. We have one of the, I believe that's a Catalano car on the inside of turn 2. Car 54, that would be Tommy Catalano, bringing out yellow number 5.
That's right.
6.
Nope.
7.
Nope, not that many, we don't think.
6. I was
6.
right the second time.
Well, we got 6 caution of the event. It comes out for the Catalano team. This is car number 54. And of course, things again bringing out a caution. And this is going to get where it's going to get interesting. We are now just past or close at the halfway point in this event, and we're going to see what's going to happen. Let's reset the field for you. Austin Beers is your leader. Patrick Emmerling is still in second. Ron Silk is third. Matt Brody sets in the 4th spot. 5th position, Stephen Kopsik. 6th position, Trevor Catalano. 7th position, Kyle Bonsignore. Justin Bonsignore is 8th. Craig Lutz is 9th. And Tyler Ripkema rounds out the top 10.
Austin Beers looks like he is coming into the pits next time. When pit road opens, this is a golden opportunity. And really, the race playing out perfectly for someone's race strategy. If you could plan out the perfect race, okay, just after halfway, let's change the tire. Remember, the tire rule, you can change 1 tire per caution. So let's see what Austin Beers does. As he'll pull on, so will Patrick Emmerling. Ronnie Silk's right behind him, so will Stephen Kopsik come in. That will hand the lead over to the 96 of Matthew Brody.
And let's see exactly how many cars are going to take advantage of this situation. Here they come. Literally a gaggle of cars heading down on pit road. AJ is down there checking out things. Emmerling, first car in to stop. Meanwhile, all eyes is on Austin Beers. Comes off by turn 4 down on pit road. Meanwhile, Silk is in. His crew addresses the situation. There is Austin Beers. Stephen Kopsik is there as well. Beers' car, right rear tire, is the story. Right rear comes off, new right rear goes on. Meanwhile, check the tire pressures on the left side. But it is Patrick Emmerling that manages to squeak by Andy. This could change everything coming off pit road.
Let's go trackside to Austin Beers' pit and see what happened down there, AJ.
Looks like maybe a tad bit of confusion here with the 64 group. They had to go right back to the left rear there. They changed the right rear on the 64 machine, and then we're making adjustments on the left side on that left rear tire. But they've gotten the 64 back out there. He's looking strong so far. Can he hold the rest of the field off? In the meantime, back up to you guys in the booth.
Trackside or track position is at a premium as the laps wind down. We're in the middle stages of the Eddie Partridge 256 at Riverhead Raceway. And a driver who has already changed 2 tires is now up inside the top 5 again. That's going to be Justin Bonsignor. Earlier in the evening, we talked to these crew chiefs, and they said, you know what? Sometimes you're just going to have to come and get your tires early and roll the dice. If there isn't a lot of fall off in the tire, I'm coming early, I'm getting the tires, and make them go around me.
Well, the real story here is not just that. It is simply the points. You're looking at Justin Bonsignore, second in the points. Remember, he was just 7 points back going into today's event. Then all of a sudden, right there, behind him is Austin Beers. And what about the number 96 car? For this youngster, this is a great opportunity for him. Meanwhile, down in pit road, Tyler Ripkema. They have the hood off from car number 3.
Yeah, that is a tough break, and it's indicative of what we've seen, or consistent with what we've seen with this 3 team. As soon as they get up, something falls out, and they suffer a poor finish. They seesaw quite a bit. Looking at the flow replay there, you see Tommy Catalano with Kyle Bonsignor right next to him. Just looks like he went around in turn number 2. One more time, here's the replay, and maybe a little contact midway between 1 and 2.
Sure did look like there might have been a minor touch, and that's all it took to spin things around. So car number 96 is the leader of the event. The starter stand indicating one more time before we're set to go back to green.
It's going to be interesting.
I don't think anybody has shown their, well, mid-race attempt to try to get as far as they possibly can to the front, using pit strategy as the advantage, but we are now entering that zone. Here they come, off turn 4.
You're 21 years old, you're celebrating your birthday, and you're at the head of the field in a NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour event, and you are driver car number 96, Matthew Brody. Brody, 2x2 with 4-time Justin Bonsignor back in turn 1.
There's no question about it. Bonsignor tries to create some magic. He pulls off the turn. Deep into turn number 3, Justin Bonsignor is in command. Brody drops back to second. Here comes Austin Beers, and with him is Ron Silk with car 16.
This is what I want to see out of Justin Bonsignor. Car 51 struggled mightily in the first stages of this race, but now getting up front, he is the current master of Riverhead, the all-time winningest driver with 12 NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour wins. He has a track championship here before he joined the Tour back in 2011. He knows his way around here, but he hasn't really been up to snuff this afternoon / this evening. But track position is everything, and right now he's proving that he's just as fast as everybody else. Matter of fact, he gets some daylight between himself and the 96 of Brody down the backstretch.
You know, Brody's done such a great job of holding on for second. Here comes Silk. He makes the move to the outside, tries to make his presence known around Austin Beers. Beers continues to guard the 3rd position. Silk looks deep into the turn. Ron Silk up on the outside. It is Beers who slams the door. Austin Beers still holding on to 3rd.
I still think Ron Silk has a lot in the tank, and he has not shown all his cards. Could be completely wrong. He might just be a 4th place car, but knowing what Ron Silk can do here at this racetrack, I'd be greatly surprised if that was the case, because you think of the last 7 races, Ron Silk and Justin Bonsignor have won all of them. Only 2 drivers have won in the last 7 races here at Riverhead Raceway.
Well, things still start to settle in just a bit. Silk is still trying every type of a move to make the transition. He tries the outside, looks there, now tries to make it happen. It just doesn't work. Down into turn 1. He'll settle back in. Here comes Austin Beers. He now moves in. Brody is there. Beers to the bottom. They touch. Coming off the turn. Pull back into formation. That's the battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
There are so many things I love about this race right now. As I mentioned, Justin Bonsignor showing that he is still the master of this racetrack. Even though he's had an off night, give him the point. He's going to protect it. You have Austin Beers, who says, I'm not going to back into this championship. Come at me, bro. And wow, trouble down the back straightaway. Trevor Catalano spins around. He gets it back underway, and we're under yellow for the 7th time tonight.
Well, 7th caution of the event comes out for what appeared to be a minor spin as car number 56 got fired back up. Trevor Catalano was running in the 12th position when that spin took place. So, the lights are on from Whelen Engineering, first name in light, sirens, and safety services used throughout the world. Whelen Engineering, American made and proud of it.
Well, the Catalanos have not had a great night here at Riverhead. We have spoken a few times about how it's a love-hate relationship with that family and this racetrack. And of course, they are from New York, but the, I wouldn't say polar opposite of the state, but asking Tommy today, hey, so I know that you're from New York and we're racing in New York, but Long Island seems like a different vibe than where you're from, huh? He says, yeah, we come down here, it's like a big New York City. You know, because when they say, oh, you're from New York, and they, you know, it's kind of like when someone says, oh, you're from Maine, and they assume it's Portland. I'm like, no, and I have to explain the rest of Maine that isn't Portland, Maine. Same idea if you're from New York. Now, they're from Ontario, New York, up around the Oswego area, and that's a much different land than what we're seeing here in the New York metropolitan area. So even though it's the same state, completely different vibe altogether.
Certainly is. Looks like we've got more action about to take place on pit road. And again, this is where things are going to get kind of interesting. And let's see what's going to happen. Will he make the dive down? And no, they stay out. Nobody is coming down on pit road at this point, still under yellow.
So much at stake here in the Eddie Partridge 256. And then there's the money part of it too. This year for Whelen's 25th year of sponsorship as the title sponsor of this great regional racing division, they threw a lot of money in the point fund. And how about for the individual races? To win tonight, $11,611. To finish second, there's a big spread there. You're going to pick up $4,300, so $7,000 between first and second. You got to go for that win tonight.
You sure do, and of course it pays all the way down to $2,000 for the 19th position. Down on pit road, again, this time, a lot of the heavy front runners are there. Let's go back down to AJ.
We just saw the 51 still on pit road here of Justin Bonsignor, working on the left rear. Looks like maybe a tire pressure adjustment. The 64 of Austin Beers, his championship rival, took a left rear tire on that pit stop. We see Bonsignor pull away now as your top two in the championship are here, nose to tail on pit road. Back up to you guys in the booth.
Well, that is the closest thing I've seen to New York traffic here this weekend. The end of pit road was like trying to get on the Cross Sound Ferry.
Well, again, back down to pit road. Another car comes in, of course, the second round of cars that is ending up on pit road. Meanwhile, back up front, of course, the car that is going to be shown as the leader when we are back and ready to put it all together. Meanwhile, further back in the field, Silk trying to get into formation. He'll follow Austin Beers. As Andy pointed out, there literally was a traffic jam trying to get off from pit road. So we'll see what's going to happen as timing and scoring is looking at and putting these cars back in its correct order.
Ben, we are getting down to the nitty-gritty for the 2025 crown for the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. 3 events, including this one, so only 2 left on the schedule. After tonight, we go to Thompson Motorsports Park, October the 12th, for the great 5/8 mile oval, and then the season wraps at Martinsville Speedway.
It sure does. That's the crown jewel and the closeout of the 2000 and, of course, 25 season. Thompson Speedway, traditional with the World Series of Speedway racing. It's an extravaganza like no other. But among the headliners will be the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour for Chris Machad and Tom Mayberry's presentation of the World Series.
Lights out of the Bush Chu Chevrolet Pace Truck, and there's a Bonsignor up in front, but it's Kyle Bonsignor with hometown boy Craig Lutz on the outside. Both spin the tires, and we're back underway. Green flag in turn 1.
No question, off turn number 2. It looks like Kyle Bonsignore has it covered. Short-lived. Here comes Craig Lutz. He'll make the move on the outside. Can't quite do it. Pulls back in the line. He'll run in the tire tracks off turn 2.
Craig Lutz wants this race bad. On the outside, tried the crossover move within inches of drilling the back end of Kyle Bonsignore, but that's a good heads-up veteran move. Someone with less experience would have gotten into the back of the number 22 and caused all sorts of calamity. But make no mistake, the 46 is here and ready to race. A 2-time winner this year. They could be a 3-time winner here tonight, and it would be Lutz's winningest season in the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. He's just one position away from getting closer to that stat.
Now remember, his victories came on the bigger racetrack. But tonight, home turf, not far from where he lives, he's looking to do it. He'll move to the inside, puts the entire car down there. Look a little farther back to the right of your screen. You have Justin Bonsignore, who has moved in to take over the 4th position. Austin Beers now shown in position number 5 as Tommy Catalano. We left him out there for a while. Car 54 is up among the top 3.
And just like Monadnock, he used pit strategy to get up there, but once he was able to get inside the top 5, Tommy wasn't going anywhere. Tomcat clawed to the lead, to the side of Patrick Emmerling with 2 laps to go, and in a dramatic finish, picked up his only NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour win. He runs in position number 3. People forget Tommy Catalano has a top 5 here at Riverhead, so he can get around tonight. If he's not getting around the racetrack, he's getting around the racetrack by running in the top 5, but he's got tire tracks full of Justin Bonsignore in his rearview mirror.
Well, the car that sets in command of the event also has tasted the sweets of victory in 2025. Cam McDermott prepares the automobile for this team. Meanwhile, look at Bonsignore. He is all over the back bumper of Tommy Catalano. Catalano has got a mirror full of Bonsignore. They come back off the turn. Bottom of turn number 2 to the inside. Here comes Justin Bonsignore. Going, gone. Justin Bonsignore picked up the spot. Who's going to be there with him? Here comes Austin Beers.
This is an aggressive move by young Austin Beers, who's trying to become the youngest Modified Tour champion by just a few months. He will tie Ryan Preece at his age by winning the championship, but he would beat Preece by a couple of months on the day that he's crowned, which is later on this month, if he's able to seal it. He's still got a lot of racing to go, but good side-by-side racing with Tommy Catalano. Give him the spot off of turn number 2. Back up in front, it's Kyle Bonsignore, who has an interesting setup. He lives in North Carolina, lives in Mooresville. His team is based out of Connecticut, and I asked him if that's a conflict of, not conflict of interest, but is it hard for the team to really have a good 5 week in, week out, have a good workflow? He says, no, it's great. He says, everybody knows that when you buy racing things, you do it in North Carolina. So basically, they call me, tell me what they need. I have it shipped up there. Basically, they kind of have the Amazon advantage, and it's really working for Kyle Bonsignore on and off the racetrack this year with a win and showing the way off of turn number 4.
You know, there's no question about it. We've been watching while Andy was talking a situation that's developing at the bottom of the top 10. Patrick Emmerling, Tommy Catalano, Ron Silk, and Eric Goodale. No one has been able to shake anyone else off. Back up front, top 3 positions. Margins between the cars, .336 between first and second. Meanwhile, shift your attention to the left of your screen, because just behind Austin Beers is Patrick Emmerling and Tommy Catalano.
Emmerling just got by Tommy Catalano, and here comes Ron Silk to the inside, and that's a power move too. A power move on a quarter-mile racetrack to pick and choose where he's going to make that move. They did not touch. He got to the inside and didn't complete the pass this time. I thought it was going to be a situation where it took a lap or 2, but this time Tomcat fights back on the outside, and they're into the clutches of Eric Goodale, who's almost into the back of Silk in turn 3.
4 cars contending for the same airspace. Meanwhile, Tommy Catalano is in 6th. Silk is running in his tire track, and right there, Eric Goodale, and along with Matthew Brody. Meanwhile, Silk saw a little daylight. He wasn't able to complete the move.
How about this in turn number 3? Caution flag is on the racetrack. That's not what I was going to highlight, but it was the slugfest that was brewing between Justin Bonsignor and Craig Lutz. 46 and 51 were locked in a great fight for second, and the driver that was watching it unfold right in front of his eyes, young Austin Beers in car 64, he was not sitting back and letting it play out. He was ready to battle and make it a 3-wide race for second spot. That didn't quite turn out that way because we are under yellow.
So the caution comes out. We believe the caution was brought for the number 26 car that ended up bringing out the yellow. Meanwhile, we are ready to re-rack the field. We're going to see if we have any takers. Keep your eyes what's going to happen to the inside. And it looks like, as we come off turn number 4, cars that are pulling up and out of line include what appears to be the 46 of Lutz. He's coming down. Meanwhile, Silk is there. Ripkema is there, along with Goodale, the 00 car, and the 21 of Steven Kopsik.
This is great timing for Craig Lutz in the 46. He pulls the machine down to the infield. As does Ron Silk, just lands perfectly. Kopsik's right in front of him. Let's check in trackside with AJ Vassar.
We're here trackside with the 46 of Craig Lutz. As he backs out and pulls out of pit lane, they put a new right rear on the race car. They also had a wrench in the right side of the race car. Looking to make an adjustment here, maybe trying to give Craig just that little bit more to see if he can pull out what could be a potentially 3rd win on the year. Back up to you guys in the booth.
Thank you very much, AJ, and we have had one incredible night of racing here in the first 190 laps, and the traffic jam happens again in turn number 1. This race salutes the great Eddie Partridge in the Eddie Partridge 256. For those watching on Flow Racing, here's a little piece of what he's meant to the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour.
In 2011, Ron Silk roared to 3 wins, highlighted by coming out on top in the thrilling finish at New Hampshire Motor Speedway.
I just want to thank my car owner, Eddie Partridge, and his wife Connie for letting me drive their car. Couldn't ask for a much better weekend than this.
It was later that year the team hoisted the Whelen Modified Tour's championship trophy. Fast forward to 2017, which was another monumental year for Ed Partridge. With current NASCAR Cup star Ryan Preece behind the wheel, the duo combined for an astounding 5 wins in an ultra-competitive year. When the dust settled, Eddie Partridge was the owner's champion. Preece and Partridge recorded their 5th win together in the 2021 Virginia is for Lovers 150 at Richmond International Raceway, another milestone in Eddie's remarkable career.
A very touching video featuring Eddie Partridge, whose race car still sits at the top of turn number 3. And you saw Ron Silk in victory lane, and he and Eddie teamed up for that great 2011 championship. And seeing young Ryan Preece, that was the final night of Eddie going out on top. I mean, he was in victory lane the night that he passed away.
Well, right now it looks like we're about ready to get fired back up again, just shy of the 194th circuit as they come off turn number 4. The starter adjusts the field, the green is out, and Bonsignor trying to dig hard in the outside lane. They're almost 3 wide. They are 3 wide. Bottom of turn number 3 to the front of the class. Justin Bonsignor becomes the brand new leader.
This one is not over yet. Cousin Kyle on the inside, and here comes Austin Beers. He does not want to run 3rd. Patrick Emmerling from group number 2, and Bonsignor, Kyle Bonsignor, a little out of shape, slingshots it into turn number 1. I don't know how he held onto that car, but he did.
No question about it. He did a great job of doing just that. Beers now continues to work the inside lane. He forces Emmerling to the top side of the racetrack. Emmerling can't do it. Meanwhile, here comes Silk. He moves to the inside. Little taps to the back bumper as he comes back to turn number 1. back up front, bid for the lead.
It's so important for Justin Bonsignor to win this race, not only for Eddie Partridge, not only for Ken Massa, not only for the entire 51 team, but just for the bonus points of winning this race in such a tight season-long point battle. There were only 7 points separating the two coming into this race. If he wins, he gets the bonus points, finishes second, 0 bonus points.
You know, bonus points are so important at this late in the event. Meanwhile, Kyle Bonsignor slips up the racetrack just a bit. That works to the advantage. Here comes Austin Beers. Beers moves to the bottom. Austin Beers is back up to second. Patrick Emmerling sees the door open. He'll try to make a bid. That shuffles Kyle Bonsignor back to the 3rd position, and he's losing ground.
I am seeing a fight out of Austin Beers that I haven't seen in about 6 weeks. Car 64 wants it bad. How bad do you want it? You have to pass the driver that's chasing you and trying to take away your crown. And it's not like he hasn't been here before. Justin Bonsignor with 4 titles to his credit in the Drive for 5. The major stumbling block for him getting there is the driver of car 64. Meanwhile, battle for 4th. Here comes the 96 down to the inside. Brody is not going down without a fight. He continues to impress tonight.
No question, Brody has done a masterful job, but he is being also hunted down in the competition here. Ron Silk has moved into the 6th spot. Silk is there. He'll make a move to the inside. Brody tries to shake him off. Doesn't in turn number 3. Silk is there. Taps to the back bumper. Behind Silk, Craig Lutt, and here's Steven Kopsik.
Slowly but surely, Austin Beers reeling in your leader, Justin Bonsignor. 2 white and green vehicles off of turn number 2. The separation is about 2 car lengths. Beers running in the tire tracks, and he is now visibly closing. If momentum is anything, and sometimes it's everything, Austin Beers has it off of turn number 2. He's right there.
He certainly is. He continues to reel him in. 0.459. Here they come off the turn. Beers continues to line up with the back I-beam bumper in front of him. That, of course, on the 51. Justin Bonsignor. Beers tries and looks to the outside. It doesn't work. Bonsignor still guards the spot.
How bad do you want it? Beers, 64. Now starting to prey on Bonsignor, whose tires might be wearing out. Remember, he changed his tires earlier in the race than other drivers due to the situation that he was in. The hand was dealt, and now 64, contact turn 4.
They touch coming off the turn. Contact is made. That upsets things just a bit, but Bonsignor doesn't get rattled easily. Meanwhile, here he comes again, all over the back bumper. Can't quite do it yet, but Austin Beers is going to go down as a contender right to the wire in this event.
Remember what happened in 2023. It was Justin Bonsignor with a huge shot to Ron Silk, and then Silk re-delivered the message. They went at each other for about 20 laps or so, and now the new player in the field is Austin Beers, who now goes to the outside. He's going to try to do it the hard way in turn number 2.
Austin Beers goes to the outside lane, gets pinched off just a bit. Bonsignor guards the inside lane. Up the hill he goes. Bonsignor shuts the door, but Beers refuses to give up. And now the crossover as he comes back in the line. Austin Beers dive bombs down to the inside. They touch. Bonsignor is sideways, and Beers becomes the leader.
And if you think that's the end of it, keep your eyes glued on your screen. We still have 36 laps to go. This is not a 250-lap race. It's 256. And I think they're going to use all 256 to decide this race with lap traffic ahead, and one of them is going to be Matt Hirschman.
And once again, continuing to set the pace out in front. Meanwhile, looking at the field, back in the 4th position, Patrick Emmerling and Kyle Bonsignor is still contending. We just witnessed, of course, our leader going around Matt Hirschman, who scuffed the wall early in the competition, just trying to ride it out for points.
If we get a late race caution, I'm keeping my eye on number 16, Ron Silk. Silk passed 3 cars in about 5 laps. Did it clean on the inside. That car, remember, he has been very conservative with his tires tonight. If anybody has saved anything, it's Ron Silk. And if we get a late race caution, there's one driver that I don't want to be next to, and that is Ron Silk. Car 16, not out of it yet, but he's going to need the help of a caution flag. That silver 16 runs off of turn number 4.
He is getting literally quicker. Timing and scoring shows him moving into contention each and every circuit, chipping away at it. You're looking at the leader. That, of course, is Beers. Bonsignor in second. Then there's that gap with Silk back in the 3rd spot, Patrick Emmerling and Kyle Bonsignor. Once Austin Beers took the lead, he has pulled away by perhaps the biggest margin and lead in this event.
What I got to say about that is I think you saw a temporary changing of the guard. And I know that might be an overstatement, but stick with me on this one. Austin Beers is running against drivers that he grew up idolizing, like Justin Bonsignor. And Bonsignor, for the last couple of weeks, has chipped away at his lead. And I'm not sure if there are any sort of head games that are happening between those two drivers, but it looked like Austin might have been off a tick mentally over the last couple of weeks. And sometimes, and I'm not saying Justin's a bully by any stretch of the imagination, but figuratively, what's the best way to get rid of a bully? You got to stand up to him. So I think there was something to be said for not only Austin Beers closing in and making a pass on the lead, but the racing nudge out of the way. This is my championship. I want this. And he goes after it back into turn 1.
You know, right now we're witnessing lap traffic as the leaders come up in the competition here. They work their magic continually. Meanwhile, still in command, you're looking at Austin Beers. He comes up on another lapped automobile. These lap cars are working to his advantage, putting a margin between him and Justin Bonsignor.
Beers doing a masterful job off of turn number 2 has opened up about a 7-car length advantage. Matt Hirschman has pulled it to the infield. What a tough night in his 150th start. Spread across 19 seasons on the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour. He's had a great career, continues to have it. He's one of the 40 greatest drivers along with his father, Tony, but tonight certainly not his night.
So again, things is settling in pretty much at the point. Meanwhile, back in the top 5, Patrick Emmerling in the 4th spot behind Silk. Kyle Bonsignor still setting in the 5th position. Lutz is up to 6th. Topsic in 7th. Catalano, that's Tommy in 8th. Ericadale is 9th. And Trevor Catalano rounding out the top 10.
One driver whose handle has started to go away a little bit is Patrick Emmerling. You can see him shift out in turn number 4 that last time with Kyle Bonsignor going after him. And then there's Craig Lutz in the 46. Everybody gets around Stephen Komsic as they go back into turn number 3, but Komsic is stuck in there as well. What a great battle further on back in the pack is nothing's changed up in front. It's still Austin Beers and Justin Bonsignor, your top 2.
The margin continues to stay pretty much the same. Bonsignor cannot get closer, but time will tell the answer. Heavy traffic up ahead, but Austin Beers continues to lead by .802.
Trouble, turn number 4, Emmerling goes around, and here comes the late race caution that has Ron Silk licking his lips.
So the caution flag comes out. And it's going to be a race wait to the checker, and you called it best. Lights are on. Whelen Engineering, trusted to protect first responders throughout America. American made and proud of it. The NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour has lived up to its reputation here at Riverhead Raceway. Austin Beers was able to take the lead by an aggressive run from Justin Bonsignor. You can see the back end of the automobile. They played for keeps in that one, and of course, the end result is still yet to come. Ronnie Silk in striking distance, and Andy, you were right. Silk might be the smartest guy in the house is the old theory, the guy in third might have the best advantage.
The guy who won this race in a green-white checkered last year still has yet to lead a lap tonight. But again, he didn't lead the most laps last year when he won. He only led, I believe, 60-some-odd laps. So he will restart third. But I cannot stress enough on the run that Austin Beers had. I think it's, however the rest of the season plays out, if he in fact becomes the newest NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour champion, he needed a run like this to put a period on the sentence of a title run.
So there we're looking at a replay of the number 1 car of Patrick Emmerling. Goes into the turn, back end snaps around. The car that he was involved with was the 21 of Steven Kopsick. So the 1 car, no damage of severity. Watch here as the back end snaps. Kopsick is on the outside. Kopsick does a good job of saving and pulling away as everybody tries to scramble and get by. And this is what it's all about, Andy, as we're coming down to the wire.
Austin Beers had been consistent all year. He had completed all the laps. He had picked up a win at the place he basically owns, which is Lancaster at this point. But his consistency is why he was the points championship leader. One thing that he was missing was the idea that he needed a statement race, and this is that statement race. Clenched yellow means next time by, we are going back to green. Will this be the statement of Austin Beers' career as he solidifies himself as a contender for the 2025 championship even that much more? He has to battle Justin Bonsignore on the outside.
Here they come off turn number 4. Beers doesn't. Look at Silk. Silk muscles his way to the inside. Ron Silk down underneath Bonsignore. The classic battle of the Whelen Modified Tour of 2 of the best. Silk continues to dig in. Off turn 2. Down the back straightaway. Bonsignore still in command.
Remember, these drivers, Ronnie Silk and Justin Bonsignore, have won the last 7 races at Riverhead Raceway. They both chase championship leader Austin Beers, who's not only trying to pick up the win, but those crucial bonus points with 5 laps to go.
5 circuits remaining. Austin Beers wants to continue his dominance inch by inch as the leader, running not only up front to the win, but running as well for the point title.
Well, we talked about Ronnie Silk looking and acting kind of like a cat with a glass of water on the counter, just tapping it, tapping it, tapping it. It is go time. We have 3 laps to go. And the only thing that stands between Ronnie Silk and a repeat victory is Austin Beers, the championship leader. He's not racing for the championship, but he's racing the guy that is. How does he handle him with 2 to go? Next time by, we're going to find out.
We sure are. Down the back straightaway, deep into turn number 3. Off the 4th turn. White flag is out. No one is surrendering at the point.
He's completed all the laps this year, but this is the statement for Austin Beers off of turn number 4, the winner of the Eddie Partridge 256. Checkered flag out, it's Austin Beers.
Austin Beers takes down the impressive victory. He'll command the point lead as well. Ron Silk to finish in 2nd. Justin Bonsignore to round out the top 3. Craig Lutz to finish in 4th. Kyle Bonsignore for 5. Unofficially in 6th, Eric Goodale. 7th spot, Steven Kopsick. 8th spot, Trevor Catalano. 9th spot, Matt Brody. And rounding out the top 10 is Tommy Catalano.
He came into Justin Bonsignore's house. The driver that was chasing him in the championship had won here 12 times. Austin had struggled. 1 second place finish. He was 8th in the spring. But he came, he conquered, and he extended his point lead. With 2 races to go in the 2025 NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour Championship, the driver who's gunning to be the youngest champion in series history puts an exclamation point on an incredible run in car number 64.
And what an impressive run it has been. Sly Zabin, Ronnie Uhouse, and Murph, the owner of the machine, all knew what they had to do as they came into this event with one thing in mind: win. And by winning, that would give them an advantage going into the next stop, Thompson Motorsports Park, for the World Series of Speedway Racing, and to Martinsville for the crowning of 2025.
And just think of having to come into Justin's house and trying to hold this four-time champion off. Think of the run that he got last year. Come into Riverhead, where he won the pole and won the race. Same at Thompson, same at Martinsville. How are you going to beat this guy? He took a huge step in doing that tonight. I would argue that this is the biggest victory of Austin Beers' career.
Well, you know, I think it has the most when it comes to the ability to work his magic and get the job done. He just didn't have the lead handed to him. He worked and drove to his potential each and every circuit. His dad, his mom, and his family and the crew of the 64 are all ecstatic in the winner's circle as we will be going down to meet and greet our top 3 finishers, 3 of the very best on the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour.
For the 5th time in his young NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour career, Austin Beers, and you can see him on flow zeroing in on the camera, getting ready to exit his race car. And he went out and took it from the king, the current king of Riverhead Raceway. He's getting the congratulations from NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour officials. The hat's going on, and when he gets out of the race car, ladies and gentlemen, let him hear it. The driver of car number 64 is Austin Beers. And let's go trackside to AJ Vassar.
Austin, you finally quell the demon here at Riverhead Raceway, picking up your first tour win here at Riverhead. What's the emotions right now?
Relief. You know, we struggled really bad at New Hampshire, just, you know, kind of lost a lot of confidence in myself, really, and this team just had a badass race car. We kind of struggled in practice there, but they did a hell of a job working on it, had a good pitch strategy. You know, we're just able to get the car to rotate in the center really good there through that last long run, and able to pick off Justin and then held him off for the restart, but just can't thank Mike and Maggie Murphy enough for allowing me to run their race car, and we're just having a hell of a year. Sly, Ron, my dad, everybody that works on this crew. You know, they never give up, and I'm going to never give up on them.
Righty, well, overall, we know you're chasing history, trying to become the youngest Tour Modified champion in NASCAR history. What does a night like tonight overall do for you in your mind and your chances?
Oh, this is big. This is a track where we kind of struggled. We've had good runs here, but we've had bad runs here. But, you know, this gives us confidence going into Thompson. You know, padded the points lead a little bit there. We just got to keep doing what we're doing. You know, we've just been consistent all year, and, you know, this win's definitely going to help us.
Righty, well, congratulations, Austin. Back up to you guys in the booth.
Thank you very much. Congratulations to Austin Beers winning at Riverhead Raceway. His first victory here after a second place just 1 year ago. 8th in the springtime, and certainly extending that point lead right in front of the Eddie Partridge 66 Peterbilt. We're going to hear from second and third place as well in what's been an incredible night of racing. 256 laps, which just simply clicked off very quickly, as you can see Justin Bonsignor headed towards our headed towards down towards oh yeah, okay, so let's go down trackside with AJ Vassar again.
We've got one more thing to do here real quick with our race winner in Austin Beers. Of course, the Hoosier Tire Draw. Austin, it's your pick here. Reaches into the bucket. What does he draw? Draws a 17. Andy, guys, who wins the Hoosier Tire Draw?
We're going to have to look that one up for you, but it's going to be a pretty great nice little bonus for the driver who finished 17th. Now with the tree in Victory Lane, the palm tree, which is significant of Eddie Partridge and the Partridge family. It looks like we're down trackside with AJ, who has Ronnie Silk.
We're here with tonight's second place finisher in the Eddie Partridge 256 with Ron Silk. Ron, a very strong car there at the end of the race, just coming up one spot short.
Yeah, good car. I don't know, the race was weird this year with the one tire per stop. It's just, no one knows what to do to their car taking one tire at a time. We got this nice pit road here and we do modified live pit stops. But congratulations to the 64. It was a great win for them. It was a good run for us. Would have loved to get one spot better for Eddie, but second's not bad and we'll try again next time.
Righty, Will. That's your second place finisher, and Ron Silk. Back up to you guys in the booth.
All right, thank you very much, AJ, as he goes and finds Justin Bonsignor real quick, who is still very much in this title fight with 2 races left to go in the season. August 12th at Thompson Motorsport Park. The next race, Ben, that's in your backyard. That's going to be an incredible dogfight right down to the wire.
Certainly is, and you won't want to miss it. We invite you all to come out and see it because it is just the final northern stop of the Whelen Modified Tour at Thompson Raceway Park. It's coming up for the World Series, a spectacular event, and of course, then it'll be on to Martinsville. And I don't think this is going to be over until the final turn of the final lap of 2025. That's how impressive the competition has been.
Let's go trackside to AJ one last time with our third place finisher.
We're here with your third place finisher in the Eddie Partridge 256, the 51 of Justin Bonsignor. Justin, you led there pretty late, around 40 laps to go, and come home with a P3. Overall, bit disappointing tonight?
I mean, you always want to win, especially at home, and but congrats to Austin. They executed really well. They probably had the best car throughout the entire race on all the different gimmicks that we have to jump through here. So it's just so hard to know what the right strategy is going to be, and we short pitted because we weren't too good and got the track position, but it just didn't play out there at the end. We needed to go green, I guess, in that middle stage a little bit longer, but all in all, pretty good night. I want to thank Phoenix Communications, Clearcom IT Solutions, Fury Race Cars, M3 Technologies, Robbie Yates Engines, all the guys, all the fans are coming out. It was a good crowd here for a tour race. It's great to see our home track packed out, and we're not out of it. We just gotta go win the next 2, I guess, and hope he has a little bit of bad luck. But all in all, pretty good night. Just you always want to win at home.
Righty, well, thank you, Justin. Back up to you guys in the booth.
Thank you very much, AJ. Great job from the trackside all night and also with the local divisions. Ben Dodge, it's been an incredible night of racing. As I mentioned, it's been the statement that Austin Beers has needed to make for the second half of the season to set up the last 2 races of the year.
Certainly has, and of course, this was one of the great short track stops. We hope you've enjoyed the presentation this evening on Flow, and we hope that you'll be joining us. If you can't make it, tune in from Thompson Raceway Park.
And this night all about Eddie Partridge, the Eddie Partridge 256. For those who are watching on Flow, take a look at this great tribute video to the man that we honored here tonight at Riverhead Raceway.